Well, it says we're live. It says we're live, so I hope that works. Hopefully it's live. You guys will have to tell me. I don't know. Jinkies. I think it's live. You may have to refresh the page. It should be live. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a dude. It says we are on. Yay, we're back. Okay, great. That's good news. So what are we? We are 4 minutes away. 4 minutes away from the announcement of the 3.10 League. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. Come one, come all. Come join me as we count down for the POE 3.10 League, the 3.10 League. So, for those of you who are stoked for the day, it is great to have you here. There were some people, as is tradition, there are people who always want to spoil other people's fun. And so we are, throughout the day, have been cleaning up people's act on Discord because some people have wanted to ruin the fun of other people. I personally have heard some spoilers about the name of the league, but that's the only thing that's been spoiled for me. And that could be not true. So lots of different people have got lots of different ideas about what might be out there. But I have personally avoided most of the spoilers. I've simply gone into our Discord and deleted anybody posting spoilers for the day. Because some of us actually want to embrace the hype that is, well, getting to react to things live. I think that's fun. So let's go tell all of our friends on Discord. The countdown is almost up, and we will live stream the 3.10 announcement. Come join us. Drop a meme. Make a prediction. Specifically, make a prediction about a build that you think is going to be good for this league. We're going to find out what the league is here in just a moment. We should get a trailer. We should get a website. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of interviews that should get lifted and become available. I think they said 17 different journal outlets. Is that what they said on the forums? Let's go find the forums. I think, it's already down. Okay, the realm is down for the March expansion. There you go. So I think it was 17 news outlets is what they did for the press tour. So hopefully there will be some sort of interviews that we can read throughout the afternoon and to make some predictions for the 3.10 League and for the builds that will be relevant or most relevant. You know, it's always interesting on a day like today when we have no patch notes to look back and to see like what people predict for today, what will be meta, and then what actually turns out to be meta. Like I remember during the not synthesis, but during the Legion League, a lot of people looked at the Legion mechanic and said, "Oh my goodness, this is going to be nuts for Essence Drain Contagion." And up until that point, I had never played an Essence Drain Contagion build. And so that was fascinating to see like what an Essence Drain Contagion build actually, is like, essentially, like to actually experience it. It was very, very cool. So welcome to the chat. Those of you who are finding the wrong stream for whatever reason, there's a whole bunch of streams that got like queued, but those are all wrong. Those are dead. Those are not the real stream. This is the real stream. If you're watching me talk, that's the real stream. There you go. Bad Touch says, does Wilson know you're cheating on him? I'm not cheating on Wilson. If anything, I was cheating on POE by playing Wilson for the last week, which was fun. So we'll see. We'll see what 3.10 delivers for us. All right. According to their Twitter, what was it? We finished our press tour, having shown our next expansion to 17 news outlets. There you go. So that was yesterday. So whenever POE.com comes up, sometimes there's a delay. Sometimes we crash the website because we're all excited. So we'll see if there's a delay or not. Also, supposedly today, by the way, we're supposed to have a new subscriber notification on the stream. So take that for what it's worth. If you haven't subscribed and dinged the bell yet, if you do today, then hopefully there will be a little notification that pops up. All right, POE.com is up. PC servers are restarting now. Okay. They should be up in approximately 10 minutes. All right, so where is it? Let's go find the Path of Exile YouTube. Let's go find that. Here's their channel. Is their channel up yet? Nope, there's Metamorph, there's Conquerors, there's POE2. Which, by the way, you should also ding the bell, right? Yeah, there we go. Ding the bell. I'm dinging the bell on the POE page. But you should ding the bell right here for the G3 Club. For the G3 fam, as we call it. Their servers are getting bombarded with millions of fans like you and me. Just all going, hey, where's our announcement? Give us the announcement. Which, supposedly, the countdown timer is done. I remember, was it last league or 2 leagues ago? Was it 2 leagues ago that the countdown timer was off by half an hour? That it took us half an hour to get the announcement? That was really bad. That was really awkward. Sorry for spamming you in Discord. Yeah, no worries, mate. I try not to pay attention to too many Discord messages if there is the chance of spoilers. So don't worry, you didn't spoil anything for me. As soon as I see somebody saying anything that's close to being a spoiler, I just don't look at it. Crystalline Novev says slightly balding forehead league. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Which, by the way, I guess I need to change my desktop background. But we'll do that once we actually get an announcement about what the name of the league is. So we'll do that. There you go. The announcement says 000. We'll just keep spamming F5, right? Today is the official spam F5 day. Oh, Breach. It was delayed 30 minutes. There you go. On the official site? I'm on the official site right now. This always happens, though. We're always the last to know things, right? That should be the new meme. Look at this. Build of the Week episodes. This is a year old on the POE website. Wow, it's been 7 months since they released a boss versus boss video. I feel like that was kind of a fun thing. Yeah, 62K, 86K. I feel like that was kind of a fun thing when they released those videos. Maybe they'll do another one. Maybe they'll do one of Cirrus versus Elder versus Shaper. That would be a fun boss fight to watch. Or watch all 4 of the Conquerors. That could be fun. Remain Indoors says there's a trailer on YouTube that was uploaded 4 hours ago. Yeah, that's probably not the actual official trailer. So, Brian B says, any reason why you stream on YouTube versus Twitch? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of reasons. One of them is that YouTube, when you upload a video or live stream on YouTube, it's actually going to stay there forever. Twitch removes the VODs pretty regularly. Even if you've got save VODs on, sometimes they'll get rid of VODs that you've had scheduled. So let's see if there's any other sites. What is it? Is it PC Invasion that sometimes has the POE3? Oh, here we go. Here's the latest. Okay, everything got released. Delirium. POE expansion. Everything you need to know about Delirium. All right. Guys, you guys are behind on your website and you're behind on YouTube. Come on, guys. Oh, no, we broke it. We broke POE.com. I wonder if POE uses the same servers as Wilson. Hopefully not. All right, announcing Path of Exile Delirium. No, we're almost there. It was there. I could see it. Oh, come on, guys. All right, so this has got to be the new image, right? We got to save this image. All right, we can go in and rename. What is this? 3.10 POE Delirium. How do you spell Delirium? Delirium. Sure. POE Delirium logo. All right. We can set that as our desktop background here in a second. Jason Rodriguez, J-Rod, coming in with the clutch. All right, let's get this. Let's get rid of this web page. Let's make this bigger. We're going to need to go in and redo all of our logos as well. I think all of my logos right now are still Metamorph logos. So we're going to need to redo that. Path of Exile Delirium. All right, so I need to go change. What is this? Go change the stream name. Right? Title it Delirium. Something like that. I don't know. We'll worry about that later. Worry about that later. That's what we'll do. I'm not too worried about it. Where are the 401 gameplay files or whatever? Error 404. Where are those? Get 404. Get 405 up here. If 404 isn't working, get 405 in here. Fire 404. The announcement page. All right. Take me there. Watch the trailer. Take me there. Okay. Okay, everybody be quiet. Everybody be quiet. I'm going to watch this. Everybody be quiet. Okay. All right, let's watch this. This is going to be our first viewing of Delirium. I'm going to try to turn this up. Hopefully you guys can hear it. It's going to blow out my ears, blow out my speaker.
What will you find in the darkest reaches of your mind? Come, step into my world of twisted illusion.
All right, we go to another zone?
Witness the birth of fear.
No, we stay in the same zone. Okay, we stay in the same zone and monsters turn into ghosts. Was that the Valenta attack? Like the chain attack? The Cirrus tunnel?
Move quickly through the mist of madness.
There's a bunch of stuff leap slamming us.
There's feelings and horrors beyond all reason.
Is that a new monster?
And if you're lucky, you'll be rewarded with power beyond all reckoning.
Did they expand the passive tree?
May expand your mind.
They add currency to the passive tree? Okay, so like, there's a breach and that interacts with the monsters as well? Ah!
So come, exile, and experience my final wonderful delirium.
Experience delirium. Okay, come on, Chris, tell me about it. Tell me.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Yay, he said
Touch the mirror of delirium and your nightmares will manifest as reality. Existing enemies gain terrifying abilities and new foes emerge from the mists. Plunge deeper into the delirium to seek deadlier terrors and even greater rewards.
So it's like an overlay on top of the map.
Delirium
It's like
affects
a
all
second
Path
map
of Exile content to greatly increase its risk and return. Consume Orbs of Delirium to put entire maps into a state of delirium. Each orb increases the intensity and adds a new reward type. Combine splinters from these maps to reveal Delirium's mysterious endgame encounter.
Guys, what is going on here?
Grow your passive skill tree by placing cluster jewels in its outermost sockets. Craft these jewels to improve their passives,
You get
add
new
one of 280 new
passives.
notables, or craft additional
280
sockets and
new
exclusive
passives?
keystone passives.
Alright, so builds are gonna look a lot different this league, guys. Oh, builds are gonna look so different this league.
Experience Delirium on Friday the 13th of March.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, there we go. So, Friday the 13th, That's our confirmed day, which earlier, what was that? A couple weeks ago, we weren't sure if it was going to be Friday the 13th. It's going to be Friday the 13th. Okay. I guess I'm delirious. That's my initial reaction. I'm so excited. I'm delirious. How do you spell delirious? Delirious. There we go. I'm going to have to get used to spelling this word. Okay, so here's the official trailer. All right, here's the website. Let's comb through this website together. Holy moly. This okay. If this gives us 280 new passives, which is what Chris just said, that's going to change the way how we all build whatever builds it is that we are used to building. It's going to change all of them because every single build will need to update now with the new and updated, new and most relevant iteration of itself. Like 280 new passive nodes, that's got to be the first thing that stands out. Secondly, the second thing that stands out is that monsters are going to be imbued and it affects all content. So does that mean the lab? Because the lab usually doesn't get interacted with. So when they say all content, they probably mean like all mapping content. They don't mean the lab. Okay. Path of Exile Delirium. A mysterious affliction has infiltrated your mind. As you touch the mirror of Delirium, reality turns to mist and your worst nightmares emerge before your eyes. Okay, does that look any better? That looks pretty good. The ratios are pretty terrible, but whatever. Our March expansion contains the Delirium Challenge League, the new cluster jewel system. Okay, so they've been messing with jewels the last couple of leagues. They've given us some unique jewels. They give us like big, large radiuses to interact with. It's kind of like Intuitive Leap, but it drops off of Cirrus. And I guess that's why they were messing with that. They were messing with that technology to essentially now be able to expand your passive tree out and see what happens from there. So the passive tree, which, by the way, the biggest draw of Path of Exile, at least one of the biggest draws, is the passive tree, right? And it is playing builds over and over again and changing them up and having a diverse set of build options, right? So there's a lot of replayability baked into POE through the passive tree. So the fact that they're expanding the passive tree. Oh, also, they said for PoE 2 that they had plans for the passive tree, but they didn't have like the ability to show us what those plans were at the time. That was during ExileCon. So I wonder if this is a part of what they're building onto. We'll see. Okay, let's keep reading. New cluster jewel system, new skills and support gems, powerful new items, and further improvements to the Atlas endgame. All right, so first off, no mention of the lab, so no mention of like a lab rework. So those of you who are hoping for lab rework, it's not happening. Those of you hoping for a trade rework, it's not happening. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. That's not happening. What is happening is we're going to go fight our nightmares. Okay, as the mists of Delirium consumes you, new enemies emerge and existing foes gain savage talents. Okay. That's interesting. Many new bosses and horrifying demons lurking within rare and unique monsters. Okay. That's interesting. Let's see what happens. So this is just a regular screenshot, right? I don't see anything that's different on here. Do you guys see anything that's different on here? This doesn't, that picture doesn't seem like anything except ghosts. It just seems like monsters. Okay. What else? Second screenshot. Anything different? I don't see anything different. All right, I'm gonna pull the chat off of the stream just so that way I can go full screen because that's super obnoxious. There we go. Hopefully that fixes that. There we go. Now we can go full screen. All right, do you guys see anything different on here? What is this up in the top? LMP? This is some skill that's being supported by LMP. Okay. What else? New skills? Yeah, this over here looks like a new skill. Whatever that is. I wonder how this is actually going to run on a lot of our computers because there's a lot of us that actually have problems when there's like shadows and water in specific areas. So we'll see what this looks like for a lot of us that have to deal with like a lot of mists. Also, are these just straight up new monsters? These have to be just straight up new monsters, right? These aren't the transformation of something new. Like that. Can we specter these guys? Can I become a lord of the undead with like these guys? These guys look fun. Are these guys like porcupine undead? Like zombies with porcupines on their back? I wonder if these are going to be kind of like the crabs that you interact with in the what do you call it, in the caverns of the Dweller of the Deep, where you kill them and then they become a second monster, right? Or the parasites that latch on to the bear like figures in Act 2. Like if you kill one of them, then the second one activates. That'll be interesting. All right, what else? Plunge into the horror as you as you travel deeper into the delirium. You'll experience more numerous and challenging enemies with greater rewards. Will you let greed and hubris draw you into the madness? What will this look like on a blight map? Yo, chat, just for a second. What will this be like on a blight map? If we can apply Mist or Delirium to a blight map, what will that do? Will that just break blight maps? This is interesting. All right, what's this screen? This screen, there's a whirlwind tornado here. There's SRS. There's zombies. So zombies are probably getting nerfed. They're telling us what's getting nerfed. They're telling us zombies are getting nerfed. They're telling us what dash is getting nerfed. Haste is going to get nerfed. This is secret information right here, guys. This screenshot tells us all the things that are getting nerfed. All right, what else? Is this an elementalist node? Is that what this is? I feel like that's what this is. What is this icon down here on T? It looks like it's down like on a cooldown. It almost looks like a like flame dash timer. See how it's like some of it is grayed out, some of it's not. That's really interesting. These guys are all new too, by the way. These guys are all new graphically. Like this guy over here, this like fat. We're just gonna call him what he is. He's like the fat zombie. Is that okay? Is that okay if I call it the fat zombie? Anyway, shout out to all you in chat, by the way. Sorry I can't get to all of your messages today. Make sure that if you're enjoying the stream that you ding the like, subscribe, and the bell to be notified for more streams where I get confused and excited just like this one. All right, what's the third picture? There's this like skeleton guy coming up out of the dirt. What is that? And what are these number of projectiles? How do we... That's not on the bar, is it? No, that is. That says right click. Okay, so this is Bladefall. So he's got Bladefall and then something else that's creating these, but he's using a two-hander. He's using like an axe or a mace or something there. That's got to be an MTX. Oh, he's got totems going off as well. So this is a totem. That's what's firing these off. And this is an enemy that's already dead or hasn't been targeted yet. This is an enemy that's dead and already targeted. Okay. Interesting. Terror permeates Ray class. Nowhere is safe. Encounters you once mastered can now be played under the effects of Delirium, substantially ramping up their difficulty and rewards. If you are daring, you can exploit Delirium to amplify past conflicts. This is an Alva Temple. Okay, this is an Alva Temple that's got Delirium on it. See where it says complete the temporal incursion, top right, and it's got the bar for monsters killed. And it's got a, what do you call it? A temple unlocking room over here to the left. This is a Berserker, I think? No? Maybe not a Berserker. Oh, it's a Sunder boy. Look at that. He's playing Sunder. League starts Sunder, boys. Where's all our Sunder fans out there? All right, so temple incursions will be infected. Of course, betrayal encounters will be infected. There's Jun running around. This is Essence Drain, right? Essence Drain. That's what this is. This is what is that? Malevolence or Zealotry? I think it's Malevolence. Here's what is this? Temp Chains. Here's Blight. Yeah, so this is ED Contagion Trickster. That's what this is. What is this down here on the bottom right? Do you guys see that right above your mana bar? It says like ×5, and then it's got like rings. Are you earning more rings and earning more rewards? Did I miss that on the other ones? That's on the bottom right? No, it's not there. It's here on the temple, or not on the temple, on the fort. It's here for the fortification. Did we miss that before? No, it's not here. Okay, so that seems like that's new to just that picture. You guys see that? Look at the second picture and look right above the mana pot. Where is that in relation to my camera? Look way over there. Look above the G3 logo. If you can see the G3 logo, look right above the G3 logo. And there's like, man, I don't even know what that is. Like, it's, well, that first off, I know what it is. It's an amethyst ring, but I don't know what it's supposed to be signifying, right? It looks like an amethyst base ring. So maybe like the more you defeat, like it gives you a counter almost that tells you exactly what you're earning. Okay, this is a Blight encounter. No, a Legion encounter. It looks like the Delirium monsters actually attack you. It looks like the ghosts actually attack you while you're popping the Legion. So it's not like there's added Legion rows, but it looks like there's just new monsters that are going to come out and attack you. So that's kind of interesting. What's going on here with the flasks? Oh man, this guy's got an endgame build already. He's got a bottled faith and a dying sun. Not a bad build. Orbs of Delirium. Okay, Orbs of Delirium can be applied to endgame maps to control how intense your delirium is. Under the influence of an orb, you are immediately plunged into delirium for the entire duration of that map. A single orb creates a challenging encounter, but up to 5 can be applied to a map for ultimate difficulty and reward. So is this kind of like the anointing system? Is maybe what it's like? Maybe? I'm not sure. Maybe that's what it's like. We'll have to see. Oh, you can see it in the video? You can see that reward in the video? Nice. Very nice. All right, so let's see here. So this is the Fine Delirium Orb. Modifies a map item, adding layers of delirium with the currency item's reward type. So currency items are one possible reward type. What's this? Modifies a map, adding layers of delirium with the unique items reward type. Okay, so we'll have more unique items. So this is almost like a meshing of the oils from Blight League and the scarabs from Betrayal. It's almost like you mesh both of them, right? This is going to be modifies a map, adding layers of delirium with the essence reward type. Okay. Cartographer's Delirium Orb modifies a map, adding layers of delirium with the map items reward type. Fossilized Delirium Orb modifies a map item, adding layers of delirium with the fossils reward type. Okay, so you don't have to delve anymore if you want to get fossils. You could, in theory, just use fossilized delirium orbs, apply that to your tier 16 maps, and then away you go. You're just going to have fossils dropping for you everywhere. This is the otherworldly fungal hollow map of Miring. Its delirium reward type is currency, fossils, and players in area are 40% delirious. Okay, the other mods that are on there are just regular mods. You've got Beyonders, you've got increased accuracy, and dodge chances unlucky. Okay, so players in area are 40% delirious. So maybe, okay, so this makes sense. So if you can apply 5 delirium orbs, if you can apply 5 of these to a map, right? That's what they say. Under the influence of a delirium orb, immediately a single orb creates a challenging encounter, but up to 5 can be applied. Okay, so each one is worth 20%. So they've applied 2 here, a currency and a fossil. That brings us up to 40%. Okay, that makes sense. There's a bunch of monsters here. That's a lot of monsters. Is this the cemetery map? Cemetery or graveyard? Or maybe it's just one of the acts. I don't know. The simulacrum? What? How do you say this word? Simulacrum? How do you say this? Simulacrum. All right. Get to work here, robot.
Simulacrum.
Simulacrum. Let's try that again.
Simulacrum.
Simulacrum. Okay, so when you go to the simulacrum, I'm just going to call it the sim crib. When you go to the sim crib, search the deepest reaches of your delirium for splinters and combine them to create the simulacrum. Enter its portal and try to survive the ultimate endgame delirium challenge. All right, so we're going to have a boss. Hey! So everybody that was like baby raging and upset that Metamorph did not have a end game boss, right? We're gonna have that. We're going to have an end game boss this league. Apparently, it's this kind of floaty looking guy. I wonder if it's going to be related at all to Cirrus. Like, is this going to be somebody else that maybe was a potential Atlas of the Conqueror of the Atlas, but didn't make it? Is he related to Cirrus, but he's been banished into this into the Mistland? All right, let's take a look here. You've got simulacrum splinters. Okay. You got Sin Crib splinters. That's just what I'm going to call it. It's the Sin Crib. Simulacrum splinters. And you can turn it into a simulacrum. How do you defeat that which dwells within you is the tagline. Open a Delirium portal by using this item in a personal map device. Can only be used once. So this is kind of like Breach. It's kind of like a Breach Lord, right? You collect 100 of them. You go fight the Breach Lord. You go fight the simulacrum. This guy that's looking at his fireplace, he's all like, man, I wanted to go play in the 3.10 league, but instead I got locked inside it. Okay. Expand your path. How did they not lead in with this? By the way, this is day one. This is what? Is this 26 minutes since we know what the league is? This is going core. I'm just saying that right now. This is going core. Okay? They did not do this amount of work on the passive tree for this not to go core. This is going core. I'm calling this day one. 26 minutes in, this part of the game is going core. They might tweak it. They might change it. They ain't scrapping this. There is too much work that they put into the passive tree for this not to go core. Extend your passive tree by placing a cluster jewel in one of its outermost sockets. With craftable mods that improve the passives generated, added one of 280 new custom notables, or even graft additional sockets for deeper nesting. Cluster jewels let you grow your own passive tree. So this is almost like they've also been messing around. We can clearly see this with timeless jewels, right? This is a part of like the timeless jewel aspect. But do you see this? Each one of these. All right, do you guys see this? Each one of these little things is one of these. What do you call it? Cluster jewels. So each one of these is a cluster jewel. I wonder, depending on where you socket it, if the jewel itself is the passive nodes that come along with it. This is going to be really interesting. We essentially just got 280 new tradable things that we can interact with in the economy. Like, we just got 280 new unique jewels that we have to essentially flush out and see what's good and what's not. I'm sorry. It's taking my brain a minute to realize what's going on here trade-wise. Okay, so we've got splinters. We've got a boss. And now we've got tradable passives. I wonder if these will be unique or limited. Let's find out. Nope, they're not. Notable small cluster jewel adds 3 passive skills. Added small passive skills grant 12% to fire resistance. One added passive skill is Molten's One Mark. Molten One's Mark. Molten One's Mark. Plus 2% to maximum fire resistance, and you regenerate 1% of life per second? What the heck? Adds 5 passive skills. Added small passive skills grant. Minions have 12% increased life. Oh! Okay, so minions are probably going to get nerfed in their base, right? Right, the base gems of minions are probably going to get nerfed. That's the way how this is going to go, right? I'm assuming. Added small passives also grant 4% to chaos resistance. Added small passive skills also grant plus 7 to maximum life. One added passive skill is Blessed Rebirth. One added passive skill is a jewel socket. Okay, so you get another jewel socket that you can build off. And Blessed Rebirth reads, minions have 20% increased maximum life. Minions created recently cannot be damaged. Okay, so what you do here is you put, what is it? Is it meat shield? Meat shield that gives a chance to taunt. So you essentially put meat shield on your skeletons, and then you summon them, and they can't be damaged, and so they taunt, but there's no consequences for it, right? Or you could do it on zombies as well. You can. This is going to be broken. Chris Wilson, don't watch. Chris, turn off your stream for a minute. Guys, if you want to play like an Immortal Spectre build or an Immortal Zombie build, somebody's going to figure out how to do this. Remember that recently in POE means 4 seconds. So it just means that every 4 seconds you have to summon some zombies. And those guys are going to be like, they're invulnerable for 4 seconds. So you essentially would not have to scale any minion damage, or I'm sorry, any minion life. You could just go full on minion damage and keep summoning stuff every 4 seconds and they'll just do a ton of damage. I don't know. I'm just harebrained thought there. Okay, let's keep moving. Brood Ruin, the large cluster jewels, adds 10 passive skills. Okay, that is a large cluster indeed. Added small passive skills grant 10% increased attack damage. Look at that. Melee's getting some love. Who was it that called out that melee would be getting some love? Added small passive skills have 25% increased effect. One added passive skill is Devastator. One added passive skill is Drive the Destruction. One added passive skill is a Jewel Socket. Devastator grants 20% increased attack damage, 20% increased damage with ailments from attacking skills. Enemies killed by your attack hits have a 15% chance to explode, dealing a tenth of their maximum life as physical damage. Okay, so in theory, if you stack 10 of these, right, that's just what? 100% of their life? Because it doesn't say unique, right? Enemies killed by your attacks have 15% chance to explode. So does that potentially stack on top of each other, or does it just flat grant you the skill Devastator flat? It's flat. It doesn't stack on top of each other. Because if you can stack these, like if these will stack multiple times, that could be interesting. It probably doesn't work that way. I'm probably, yeah. Yeah. Okay, what else? I'm probably overhyping it and just thinking way outside of the thought processes. Yeah, good luck building a build this week, right? This week's featured build guide is going to be wacky, right? Because we're going to show off a build, and Lord knows if in 3 weeks, if the passive tree is actually going to be there or not. Like, this is going to be pretty crazy, guys. Okay, what else? Drive the Destruction. 0.8% of attack damage leached as life. Increased maximum total recovery per second from life leech, and 20% increased total recovery per second from life leech. Okay, so it is a big time life leech node. Okay, nice. Then we've got One with Nothing, a small cluster jewel. This is unique. It gives you the hollow palm technique. Wait, is this like the exploding palm technique? You count as dual wielding while you are unencumbered. What the heck does that mean? 60% more attack speed while you are unencumbered. 14 to 20 added attack damage per 10 dexterity while you are unencumbered. Hey, all of you people that said stacking was going to get nerfed, they just added more stat stacking. Hey, look at that. 14 to 20 added physical attack damage per 10 dex. That is a ton. Okay, just Abyssus Helm is like best in slot for attack-based builds, right? That adds 40 to 60 flat. If you are unencumbered and you have 50 dex, this jewel is already better than Abyssus. And you get 60% more attack speed. Okay, so what is unencumbered? You are unencumbered while you have no equipped gloves, main hand item, or offhand item. Okay, so you can't use face breakers, and you can't use a weapon. I'm going to figure out a build that can use this league. I'm going to do it. Because basically this is like a Facebreaker's build, because you can't use main hand. You can't use an offhand either. So it's like a Facebreaker's build that doesn't get to use a shield, and you can't use Facebreaker as a multiplier. But you count as dual wielding, which means that all of the different nodes on the tree that scale up based on dual wielding will count towards you. This is crazy. This is a crazy jewel. The hollow palm technique. This is great. Yo, Farah Mortis, if you are out there, this is for you, my man. Did you design this? Oh man, Farum loves Facebreaker builds. He loves punching stuff and building builds that don't use weapons. Like this is it. Everybody that wanted to cosplay as a monk, this is it. Yeah, you're not going to be able to use a shield. You're not going to be able to use a quiver, because that would be an offhand item. So you're just going to be walking around with just belt, rings, amulet, helmet, chest piece, boots. I guess that's it, right? That's a ton of flat added physical damage. That is a ton. Okay, let's just say, for instance, that you get 1,000 dexterity, right? That's easy to get on a stat stacking build. Let's just say you get 1,000, right? What is that? Per 10? So you get 100, right? So that means that you get 100 as a multiplier. Okay, so we're going to say 14 times 100, right? That's going to be 1,400, right? That's 1,400 flat added attack damage while you're unencumbered. 1,400 flat. Am I reading this right? Per 10 dexterity. No, I've got to be reading this wrong, right? Guys, tell me I'm reading this wrong. Oh, great point, Taco Mage. It doesn't say anything about attacks. You get better attack speed. No, it does say. It says added attack physical damage. Now, Taco, let's catch that. It explicitly says attack speed and added attack. This is not going to be for spell users. It does say attack. This is not for spell users. It doesn't matter if it's for spell users. 1,400 flat physical damage. If you are dual wielding 2 mirror tier 600 physical DPS, like jeweled foils, that's what, like, it's still not this. It's not this. It's not this. Think about every more multiplier that exists in Path of Exile. Think about this. Every physical more multiplier that exists. This is insane. You can play a monk now, and this is going to blow up the entire game. This is going to go in and one-shot Cirrus. Like, it's going to phase him instantly. Somebody's going to do this, and we're going to feature it. We're going to feature it here on the channel. Whenever somebody does it, we will feature that in Build of the Week. Okay, moving on. Voices, a large cluster jewel. Adds 3 jewel socket passives. Adds 1 small passive skill, which grants nothing. Okay, so is that what this one looks like? Is that the one that they're showing on the page, right? There's a passive on the tree that just does nothing. So you essentially have to waste 1 skill point, but then you get 3 jewel sockets from there, and then you can expand on out. I think that's what this image is. I think that's what this image is right here. Dropping from any monster in the Delirium League, these new jewels are one of the most significant improvements to build customization since the introduction of Ascendancy classes. Yeah, you're telling me. This is bigger than Ascendancy. This is already bigger than Ascendancy, because Ascendancy only gives you 8 points to play around with. At some point in time, you can simply look at the passive tree and say, okay, I need life down by the Scion tree because I'm a life-based build. And other than that, I'm just going to rush for this jewel socket and then build my own entire new tree out of 280 new notables. Like, you can do that. Oh my gosh. Build creators, all of us are just Tim and Eric head exploding meme right now. That's okay. What else? Endgame improvements. Conquerors of the Atlas revitalize Path of Exile's endgame experience. In Delirium, we have made Conqueror spawning deterministic. Reintroduced sextant vendor recipes, created extra incentives to reach higher awakening levels, revamped Volside areas, and improved the Temple of Atzoatl, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, they made Conquerors deterministic. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. We don't have to feel like, oh, is this map going to be the map that it spawns in? Hell yeah, you can call that an improvement. Reintroduced sextant vendor recipes. Nice. Created extra incentives to reach higher awakening levels. Are they adding more awakening levels? No, I think they would say that. Added extra incentives to reach higher awakening levels. So maybe they're giving us better rewards at 8 and above or at like 4 and above. Revamp Vol side areas and maps. Hey, maybe did you make it so that way they don't crash us or lock us in them? That'd be good. Improved the Temple of Atzoatl. The Temple of Atzoatl is already insane. It's just not enough players like to run it. It's not that it's not a good thing. It's just players don't like to run it. New skill and support gems. Delirium introduces 4 new skill gems and 3 new support gems. In classic PoE style, we focused on versatile designs that can complement many styles of gameplay. Okay, let's take a look. The Blade Blast. Okay, this must be the one that we were looking at earlier. Detonate blades that are now left behind by Ethereal Knives, Blade Vortex, and Blade Fall for a potent combo. Okay, so they're adding combos. They're adding combos into PoE. Or I'm sorry, there's already combos in PoE, right? There's Essence Rain Contagion. There's, what is it? Vortex plus, I forget, what's the other one? What's the other one for Vortex? I forget. There already are combos in PoE, but they're adding some combos. So if you are wanting to play a build that lets you mash more buttons than just one button, Blade Blast. There you go. Detonate blades. Okay, what else do we got? Kinetic Bolt. Fire a projectile from your wand. Hey, Wanders rejoice! Wanders got a new skill. Fire a projectile from your wand that bounces back and forth, forking with each bounce. Spell damage further empowers the wand attack. Okay, so that tells me at least one of my builds that I'm building this league. Stormbind. Place storm runes on the ground that spread out as you channel. This is like Stormburst, right? This is somebody using Stormburst. You can then channel mana into your runes, upgrading and detonating them. So mana stacking Hierophant just got a buff, or just got a new skill to play around with, right? Am I seeing that? Is this correct? Mana stacking Hierophant just got a new channeling ability, like a new channeling skill. That seems pretty cool. Powerful new items. In addition to the new currency items, cluster jewels, gems, and endgame simulacrum. Simulacrum. Syncrib, whatever. PoE Delirium introduces many new divination cards and unique items that provide new character build opportunities. All right, let's take a look at this. Perfidy. 25% increased melee damage. Flat life. You can have 2 different banners at the same time. Banners you are carrying gain 1 stage on melee hit, up to 5 per second. War Banner has a big increase in adrenaline duration. Dread Banner has a big increase in fortify duration. Okay, now I get the picture. Now I get why this image right here, literally the artwork that is above my slightly balding forehead, has got 2 banners. This is why. Because this person is wearing perfidy. Perfidy. The quote is, the trickster god turned that very day and night against each other. What hope have you? There you go. Okay, what is this? The Algor Mortis. Carnal Mitts. It's got flat ES. It's got cold and lightning. It's got a chance to sap enemies in chilling areas. Enemies in your chilling areas take increased lightning damage. Increased effect of non-damaging ailments. Okay, those of you wondering what the heck sap is, like me, I need a sap. A sap refresher. What is sap? Sap is an elemental ailment associated with lightning that causes the afflicted target to deal 20% less damage. Okay, so that's what this will do. This will give you a chance to essentially sap your enemies. So you could use this plus temp chains. All right. All right. That's interesting. That's a nice like support item. Enemies in your chilling areas take 32% increased lightning damage. That's a more multiplier. Enemies, whenever you see enemies take. That's interesting. I think that's probably actually the cooler line out of that. Yeah, the Al Gore Mortis. Yeah. This is Al Gore's favorite unique in all of PoE. Kitava's Teachings. A small cluster jewel. Adds the Disciple of Kitava. Disciple of Kitava reads, every second consume a nearby corpse to recover 5% of life and mana. 10% more damage taken if you haven't consumed a corpse recently. Okay, so you just generate a build that does the Heartbound Loop walking thing where you're constantly consuming corpses. Don't have to worry about it. Or you could do Poet's Pen where you're spawning constant corpses through Desecrate. Don't have to worry about anything. You're just always recovering 5% of life and mana. That's pretty good. And you don't have the downside of 10% more damage taken. The Split Personality Prismatic Unique Jewel. This jewel socket has 20% increased effect per allocated passive skill between it and your class starting location. Okay, it's got dex and mana on it. So I'm looking right here. I'm booting up POB. I got to do it. All right, so Split Personality reads you get 5 mana and 5 dex, but then you get 20% increased effect. 20% increased effect per node in between. That's what this says. So for every 5 nodes in between your starting area and wherever you put Split Personality, you're going to get a full-on 5 dex and 5 mana, right? Because that's 100% effect. So how much is that? Where is this? Let's go to a tree. Just give me a new tree. New tree. Okay. Between your class's starting location. All right. So if you start, where am I? POB. So if you start as a Templar, so you start here. Here's your starting location, right? And if you allocate this as far as you want away, let's say we're a Templar. How many passives is it to get down here? 26 points. So every 5 is 100%. So that's going to be a 5 times multiplier. And again, we could just like extend the passive tree out, right? Because we're getting jewels that allow us to extend the passive tree. So that could be 30 flat dex and then 30 flat mana. That actually doesn't seem that good. Somebody else is going to figure out a way to do this. Which to-do list? Yeah. Somebody's going to figure out a way to use that. All right, what else do we get here? We get the Tinkerer's Table. You get 5 fossils. You just get 5 fossils. Straight up, 5 fossils. What kind of fossils? Great question. You get 5 of them. That's a good div card. The Progeny of Lunaris. Oh, you get a Dying Sun. You just get a Dying Sun. Look at the artwork on that. It's somebody with like a Batlef, with like a Klingon Batlef, just breaking the spear of the Sun guy or the scepter of the Sun guy. That's great. Some knight of, what is it? Solaris is like, oh no. But yeah, it's a 2-card recipe for Dying Sun. Okay, I like it. All right, the Delirium supporter packs. Alongside PoE Delirium, we're also launching 2 sets of supporter packs, the Darkseer and the Fate Weaver pack. There are 2 price points available for each, and they each contain points, armor sets, and cosmetic microtransactions. POE Delirium will launch on March 13th on PC and the following week on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Okay, I got to say this before I ever click on or look at these supporter packs. Those of you who are interested in supporter packs, if you want to go buy one, you want to go support the company, I just want to say this as a massive, massive fanboy of Grinding Gear games and of Path of Exile. Almost every league I buy a supporter pack. Almost every league I'm giving them as much money as I can in my own budget for my own hobby. This is the game that I play. It's the main game that I play. It's the main game that I spend money on. That being said, before you make a decision about buying something like this, don't do it on release day, on announce day. I'm sorry, you can do this on release day. Don't do it on announce day. If you send a company the message that you're purchasing their product as soon as they announce their product, you're sending the message that their announcement is what sold you on the product. If you want to make sure that you send the message that, hey, the thing that I love is the Delirium League itself, then wait to buy your supporter pack until the league is actually launched. Okay, let's go take a look here at Jason Rodriguez's post here on PC Invasion, where he does a preview of Delirium. Everything you need to know. All right, so Jason says, hot off the heels of the first ever Exile Con last year, Grinding Gear Games is pushing forward to add more content to Path of Exile, the nearest expansion in 2020. POE Delirium promises tougher challenges by way of the Mirror of Delirium, ghostly mists, and monstrous spawns. It is also expected to be quite rewarding due to the addition of cluster jewels that greatly expand the number of nodes on your passive tree. One of them even leads to a completely distinct playstyle, that of an unarmed monk relying on only your fists. All right, we will get to more of your reactions here in just a minute, chat. We're going to read Jason's review, and then we're actually going to read an interview here in just a moment. So the Mirror of Delirium, yep, we already know about that. Delirium unique items, clusters, skills, and jewels, we already know that. An interview with Chris Wilson. All right, do you have that? Where is that, Jason? Here we go. 42 minutes ago, here is the interview with Chris. So we're going to read this, and then we're going to get to some of your thoughts. So feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments down below. But we're going to read this. This is going to be a one-on-one interview, right? Yeah, this is a one-on-one interview between Jason Rodriguez and Chris Wilson. And of course, those of you watching on the VOD, all of this info will be posted in the video description for your convenience. Grinding Gear Games and their CEO have been quite busy. Fresh off the success of last year's ExileCon and Conquerors of the Atlas Metamorph, the team is looking forward to the continuous development of PoE with PoE 2. During the press tour for the newest expansion, Delirium, I had a chance to talk to Chris Wilson. All right. Note, PoE Delirium will be available on March 13th. Okay. So here we go. Delirium and Breach 2.0. The first thing I noticed in PoE Delirium was how it looked a bit like 2016's Breach League. As Chris Wilson explained, the core combat mechanic does feel similar, but players will have more control over Delirium's difficulty depending on how far they venture into the mists. Okay, that's interesting to know. Also, unlike Breach, Delirium's content will stack and come integrated with other activities in the game rather than being self-contained. Okay, that's a good differentiator. What's the design philosophy behind PoE's Delirium concept? PoE Delirium is designed to have a wider range of difficulty, like Delve and Metamorph. If Breach always had the same difficulty, then Delirium would encourage players to build good characters as they play through the storyline. Considering that Delirium has similarities to Breach, has your team thought about doing direct sequel leagues or 2.0 versions that are tied to or resolving a previous expansion? Chris says, I would really like to do this. Direct sequel leagues are something I've pushed for very heavily during internal meetings, but there are also good reasons why we haven't done this. For every league, some people like it and some people don't. If we do a direct sequel, that'll be good for the people that liked the previous league, but the people who didn't will probably skip it. Okay, that's a fair business point. The strategy we've thought of is to have unofficial sequels. There are examples and relationships with past leagues, but we want to implement these in a clever way. For example, some people really want to revisit Harbinger and some people really don't. So what we end up doing is something that plot-wise is like Harbinger 2 or a sequel. However, mechanically, it has its own identity. Okay, that's an interesting response, Chris. That's interesting. That's an example of us revisiting previous content and pushing the story further, but we'll do it in a way that isn't so direct so as not to upset the players who didn't like their experience from a couple of years ago during that league. Wow. I just got to say, for anybody that ever wants to say, yo, GGG doesn't listen to its player base, like literally they're not releasing version 2.0s of particular leagues because too many people would be upset by it. So credit to GGG for that. All right, Path of Exile Delirium focuses on mist-shrouded locales. Knowing how special effects in the game can be a detriment to performance and frame rates, how will this impact players from a tactical standpoint? Wasn't this basically what we said as soon as we were watching the trailer? Like, hey, there's a lot of mist here. A lot of us can't handle a lot of the effects already. Chris says the fog effects in POE Delirium won't slow things down since we've added that in a smart way. I'm sorry. That's utterly laughable. To say, hey, we're adding a bunch of shaders and a bunch of text, and a bunch of textures into the game, and then saying, don't worry, it's not going to affect the performance of the game. Every single league, there's stuff that affects the performance of the game. All right, Chris continues. He says, aside from that, it's the sheer quantity of monsters on screen that may affect performance. So density is going up, so there is definitely going to be stuff that's going to affect performance. All of the monsters in the game would require calculations to be done for their attack or defense. However, because Delirium is a league where you'll be fighting lots of monsters, there will be lots of things going on, and there may potentially be moments that affect performance. Okay, there he finally gets to it. He now finally gets to it. There may potentially be moments that affect performance. Chris, the answer is there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be upset on opening weekend, most likely. There will be some of us who just, the game will not work. Let's just be honest, right? I just said I'm a big fanboy of GGG. I spend $60 to $100 every single league on the game. But let's get real. There's going to be people who are affected by the performance. We do have to be vigilant about this. We don't want to lower the number of monsters just because we're afraid of how it'll affect performance. The goal is to improve performance and have awesome combat with lots of monsters. Also, our team has been making strides league after league to improve performance. Nice. The time it takes to make calculations, CPU usage, graphical changes, and subtle tweaks to the game's engine. All right. So there you go. The promise from Chris Wilson is, hey, we're still working on it. You mentioned that the fog effects were added in a, quote, smart way. Could you add a few more details about how that was done? Yeah, seriously. What's the smart way? Well, we did it. That's the smart way. When we try to implement new effects like that, especially those that affect the entire screen, we try to use cutting-edge techniques that won't hamper performance. The fog effects were actually developed for PoE 2. You'll see these effects in PoE 2's misty graveyard areas. Okay, that's really cool. We realized that we can scale these effects up a notch, adding graphical and aesthetic improvements without slowing down the game. So we borrowed this cool PoE 2 technology to use for Delirium. All right, that's cool. And that's consistent with what Chris has said in the past, that, hey, we're going to be adding things from PoE 2 into the game as we continue to iterate on the game with each expansion. Delirium has cluster jewels that add multiple passive skills that you can assign points to. How will this be implemented considering the limitations on the number of skill points as players progress? Will players need to refund or use Orbs of Regret? He said, we're still playing around with this mechanic. It definitely takes passive points to allocate, but we're looking at various respecking options, such as maybe using points to just respec the jewel options or the minor passives. We'll definitely explain more as we get closer to the release. Okay, so it's still up in the air about how you're going to be able to respec these things. Is there a limit to the number of cluster jewels that you can use? There's no limit. Oh my goodness. This is going to quickly be like, hey, here was the old passive tree on PoE. Where is it? Do I have POB still pulled up? Yeah, I do. People are going to be like, hey, here's the old passive tree on PoE. Like, here's what it looked like. And now we want to get to the outside and get like way over here as quickly as possible because this passive tree is kind of boring, but this passive tree is really great. There's no limit. A player could just use the unique jewel, which adds multiple cluster sockets to have more available. Still, that's probably led to having a bad character since you'd mostly get unlocks and supporting perks rather than going for pure damage. That's what you say, Chris. Still, that'd probably lead to having a bad character. Chris, I'll be the judge of who's a bad character, okay? I've made plenty of bad characters in my day. I'm sure I can be the judge of that. That's pretty great. How do you feel about player retention? Hey, Jason, there's a typo right now. How do you feel? How do you feel about player retention and content drops? Have you debated releasing all of a league's content on the same day or slowly releasing it as the league progresses? Jason, don't give them bad ideas. Slow releasing content would be a terrible idea. We have found that in the past, slowing down content drops doesn't actually stop players from leaving the league down the line. Yeah, that would be terrible. You build up all of your hype around March 13th, saying, hey, there's going to be added features released on March 16th, March 20th, March 23rd. That doesn't do anything. You start out with the most players on day one, and then the player count gradually decreases. The only difference is that releasing content bit by bit will just mean that several players won't be able to experience the expansion if they decided to stop playing beforehand. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Chris. Chris, you're so smart. This is why you run a multi-million-dollar company at GGG. In our experience, releasing all the content on the first day is the most beneficial for PoE players. They can breeze through the content in one weekend or play for 2 or 3 months. It's their decision to pace themselves throughout each league. Giving players power and empowerment and choice. Love that. How do you feel about the grind to hit level 100? Are there developers that try to reach that point each league? We have multiple staff members who do hit level 100 each league because they love to play, and it's even easier now than in the past. Ain't that the truth? I'd like for reaching level 100 to be harder, to make it much less accessible, but, and Chris made the following statement very important, there are a lot of expectations within the community about what should be achievable. I don't want to slow it down. Like, say that it should take 5 times longer. That'll mean you're investing more of your time just to reach the same goal. It's going to be a very unpopular decision if we ever make that kind of change. Yeah, you betcha. I do like the idea that we can have an additional progression system in there that's lengthy for players who want to reach that goal. The good thing is that Path of Exile isn't just about hitting level 100. It's also about finding the right items and perfecting your build, and those are in place. Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I would dare say that almost all of us in chat and all of us interacting in the G3 community, 90 to 99% of us don't hit level 100. That's what I would say. And there's what? How many? Like more than 6,000 subscribers to the Good Guy Gaming YouTube channel? Like, I would be willing to say that there's maybe a few dozen people who push for level 100 every league. Vast majority of people probably don't even have a single level 100 character. Hell, I love the hell out of the game. I don't have a single level 100 character. I'm not sure if I ever will, because playing one build for that long when there's so many other builds that I want to go out and try, I don't know. That's just the enjoyment that I get from the game. So that's a good discussion point. Okay, next discussion point with this interview. By the way, if you just joined us watching, we are reading through Jason Rodriguez's interview with Chris Wilson as we are checking in on the Path of Exile Delirium League. So this is the interview between Jason Rodriguez and Chris Wilson, and we are live reacting to it. One of the most popular action RPGs in recent memory is Wolcen Lords of Mayhem. I'm sorry. That's just hilarious that Jason opened this question by bringing up Wolcen. One of the most popular ARPGs. It was popular for a week, Jason. It's only been out for like 9 days. You can't say that it's one of the most popular ARPGs. If Wolcen dies by the end of Delirium League, nobody will remember that it existed. Oh, man. Anyway, it also attracted a lot of criticisms and controversy because of server and connection issues. Yeah, that's for damn sure. Has PoE had these issues in the past? How were you able to prepare for these eventualities? Chris Wilson's response: we certainly had server issues many times going back to 2013 and 14, though we haven't had the game down for more than an hour or so. Yeah, that is a big difference between Wolcen and PoE. PoE has had problems and will always have bugs and problems because of how ambitious they are with the amount of content that they bring out. Wolcen had problems with content and with servers. Like, PoE, like Chris just said here, only down for maybe an hour or two. And even on League launch, it's amazing to see. I want to say it was 2 or 3 leagues ago was the last time that on League launch, like the servers had to go down for a few hours. And it was only down for like maybe an hour and a half, maybe 90 minutes at most. And then it was back up on opening day. We try to put in a lot of time and money prior to the release so we can scale much higher than we thought we needed to. For example, we've done tests and we know that we could scale up to 500,000 players at any given time. Of course, if we go over 500,000 players by then, the servers would break. This is also a constant thing in our business where we have to decide how to allocate our resources. Do we spend more on improving the game's quality or improving the servers? We could probably spend to allow for our servers to handle 5 million players at the same time, but that will be unrealistic and a poor allocation of resources. Yep, makes sense. Have other development teams reached out to GGG considering POE's success, perhaps collaboration efforts, or learning from your crew when it comes to making ARPGs? That's a really weird question, Jason, because from a business standpoint, you're making creative IP, right? Creative intellectual property. So you actually, like, if you've ever been to a gaming campus, so I'll just say this really quickly. Back in the day, Bald Me, G3 Iron, used to do some consulting for different companies and had some contracts for a couple different gaming companies. Okay, when you walk onto a gaming campus, oftentimes you will have to sign an NDA when you're at the office front door. They will not let you go throughout the rest of the office without signing an NDA because you might see a poster, you might see somebody working on their computer on something that hasn't been announced yet. If you went on a tour of Grinding Gear Games offices, let's say for the last several months, you would probably see artwork pulled up for Delirium, right? And they don't want people spoiling their big announcements beforehand. So this question about, hey, has anybody else asked you if they can come in and like collaborate with you or learn from you? The vast majority of learning that happens between creative gaming companies that are actually live interacting and still making IPs happens at various gaming conferences every year, right? That's where that happens. It's where game developers, like at the Game Developers Conference, come together and actually say, hey, here's something that we learned that we're sharing and that we're willing to share with the rest of the community. So it's kind of an interesting question. Chris Wilson answers, maybe not direct collaboration efforts such as doing a crossover game, but I do try to talk to industry vets and developers, especially those who make ARPGs. They're good people. I've been talking to the Wilson devs since around 2013 when I first met them. I try to catch up with Wilson Studios CEO Daniel Deloy during industry events. I'm good friends with the guys who made Last Epoch. I talk to the Diablo devs whenever there's time, and Wyatt Chang's also a nice guy to hang out with. There you go. So the answer is no, of course not. Of course we don't share our creative IP with one another because we're all under NDAs not to say anything, and we'll get sued to high heaven if we do. No. That just feels like a noob question to me. I'm not trying to throw shade at Jason. That feels like a question somebody directed Jason to ask because Jason has been doing these interviews for PC Invasion for a while. That just seems like a strange question. Or maybe it's a question precisely to get this answer to say, yeah, sure, we're friends with other people inside the industry, but no, we're not going to share our creative IP ideas with one another. Maybe players notice similarities between POE and Wilson Lords of Mayhem, especially with the map items and passive trees. How do you feel about POE's position in the genre, assuming that its mechanics may have inspired other games? Another Wilson comparison. I guess you can't miss it, right? It was just released, whatever. Chris said, I haven't spoken to the Wilson developers specifically about those elements in their games or the implementation. However, it's common for games in our genre to use successful mechanics from other titles too. Duh, we reuse things that work. For instance, Path of Exile has similarities to the early Diablo games since we're all big fans of those products. Likewise, it's flattering to hear that there are similarities between Path of Exile and Wilson. We're also pretty happy with the position we occupy in the ARPG genre, since our game has a reputation for excellent combat and character customization. Chris is throwing haymakers at Wilson today. Since our game has a reputation for excellent combat and character customization, meanwhile, Wilson over there is like, hey, we've got 2 abilities that are endgame viable, and we're going to patch them every week. Oh, I love Chris Wilson. Love him. All right, a player from Brazil shared a story about attempting to buy microtransactions, but support told him to pay in US dollars, which can be quite a lot more expensive. How would you address microtransactions in regional pricing? Chris says, We do provide regional pricing or discounts that are considerable, but not that large. From an income parity standpoint, we do want to improve our discounts to make the prices fairer in more regions, but this can cause problems where users could just use a proxy or a VPN to bypass the pricing. Yeah, we live in that age. We're aware of the differences in spending power in various countries, and we don't want to disadvantage users. I'll look into this more. Maybe over time we can have more price discounts. Okay, here we go. Hey, this was the one that we were talking about. Will we see more racing leagues or the addition of Vol Race Spectre in 2020? Chris says, you know what? I'll check that Reddit thread to see more player suggestions. Dude, a Vol Raise Spectre, let us raise a Shaper or an Elder and start walking around. Like, let us do that. Here is there a tentative release window for PoE 2? How many 3.x expansions can we expect before the sequel comes out? That's the $1 million question, Jason. I'd love to think of the number that we have until PoE 2's release, but we'll keep having expansions until the sequel is ready. Years, ladies and gentlemen, years down the line. I think that's what that's saying. All right, so that's Jason Rodriguez's interview. Let's head on over. I believe there's a couple other interviews that we should get to. So let's go take a look. Now I can actually resub to the Path of Exile subreddit because now there's not going to be spoilers all over the place. So let's go back here. Let's rejoin that because I had to leave that today because people were making posts. All right. What else should we look at? Well, first we have to go into local identities fork and just say, we got to say this. My dude, I feel bad for you and all the other POB collaborators. I got to say that. I mean, that's going to be a lot more work that all the guys who work on POBs are going to have. 280 new passives is no joke. All right, let's look and see. This is just the trailer, right? Yep, this is just the trailer. All right, let's look at the GGG comments in the thread. Okay, so let's go stalk Bex for a second. Where is Bex? So Bex is actively responding right here on Reddit to various comments. So the reason why we're stalking Bex at the moment is because Bex is actively responding to questions. So you want to see the context, and we want to see the questions that are getting asked that are getting answered. So here's one. Wait, per that video, do the blade spells skills all now leave behind animatable weapons? That means you could use animate weapon without having to worry about them dropping or other inventory concerns. That's correct. Hi, Zach. So animate weapons. Animate weapons might actually be a thing now with all of the blade spells. All right, so that was one. Here's another one. Let's see the context. Open in a new tab. All right, will we get access to the new jewel system in permanent leagues? Ooh, so in other words, hey, are standard players going to get access to the new jewels? Beck says right now they only drop in Delirium League. To clarify, do they drop from the special Delirium monsters anywhere or from any monster period as long as I'm playing in the Challenge League? Are they level restricted in any way? Could I, example, get one from normal Hillock? Bex's response, they drop from monsters within the Delirium, it seems. So not just Delirium monsters, but not outside the Delirium's mist. Okay, so that's why they're not dropping in Standard. So, for those of you who play Standard, if you want to make 1 million currency this league, go play Hardcore, go farm a bunch of these up, and then rip them over into Standard. Right? That's always a thing. Okay. What's the next Q&A that Bex gives? Here we go. Nope, not full comments. Context. Do the new jewel sockets also work with old jewels? Yes. So you can slap a timeless jewel into the new jewel sockets. With the timeless jewel, transform the new notable skills. Will the new notable skills be anointable? Can I ask an infinite number of questions? The notables are exclusive to the cluster jewels, so no, you can't. But the sockets they create work like other sockets for the most part. Okay, so timeless jewels don't extend. Timeless jewels do not extend. That's what we just learned. We are now combing through Bex's post history to get Q&As. All right, let's read this context. Here's the next one. Can you put a unique in a unique and so on and just eternally build using those? Beck says there are 3 sizes of cluster jewels, large, medium, and small. You can only socket a cluster jewel in a socket size larger than the jewel. So to make sure I'm understanding correctly, you can socket a small into the cluster jewel socket at the tree edge, then a medium into that one, then a large one into that one, and then that's the end of the chain. 3 deep. Beck says, kind of yes, but to clarify, you can socket a large, medium, or small in the outer jewel sockets, but you can only socket a medium within a large or a small within a medium. Okay, so we can't just go out infinite. We can't go out infinitely. That's good to know. That's good to know. All right, let's see her next response. Tell me there is a wand skill rework coming. Come on. I expected to see some new wand skills in the trailer. Check out Kinetic Bolt on the announcement page. There is also footage of it in the trailer. Okay, there we go. So let's watch the trailer again. I'm going to pull this up and get my head out of the way. Let's get my balding head out of the way just for a moment. All right, let's watch the trailer again.
What will you find in the darkest reaches of your mind? Come, step into my world of twisted illusion. Witness the birth of fear. Move quickly through the mist of madness. There's beings and horrors beyond all reason. And if you're lucky, you'll be rewarded with power beyond all reckoning. A little madness may expand your mind. Fury will be your downfall. Into my world of twisted illusion. Witness the birth of fear. Move quickly through the mist of madness.
Okay, so this is this is actually, what is it? Kinetic Bolt? Yeah, Kinetic Bolt. That's what this is right here at 38 seconds.
Move quickly through the mist of madness. There's beings and
I feel like the clear on that's probably going to be sick because it forks every time it
the
hits.
mist of madness. There's beings and horrors beyond.
Did that clear just mechanically? Damage, by the way, if you're watching a trailer for POE, never make judgments about damage because damage, you never know, right? Damage numbers will get released with patch notes, which of course we will cover right here on the G3 channel. The thing to pay attention to is whether or not mechanically something is working in a particular way. That's what you want to pay attention to when you're watching a trailer like this. So let's see, like, I think the character actually fires and essentially clears out from all the way at the back. He fires here and that clears out that last pack. That was just one attack. This one attack here clears those guys out. That's basically a screen and a half away because it's forking. I think there's what, half a pack that's still alive? Yeah, there's half a pack that's still there. But it definitely hit those guys. Okay. All right, so that's kinetic bolt. All right, let's go look for the next one. Nope, choose wisely. What's that in reference to? Awesome. Do we get more passive points then? Oh, Valagura, my sweet summer child. They're never going to give us more passive points. Never. If anything, they're going to take passive points away with PoE 2. Can you socket regular jewels into the expanded socket jewels sockets? Yes. Can you put a unique in a unique so that it will just build on and on? Okay, this was that question. There are 3 sizes. Okay. Gotcha. Next question. Does Blade Blast apply to Blade Storm? Yes, the pure physical blade spells. All right, so let's go look this up. PoE spells. Let's look up what? The physical blade spells. So, what do we want? We want related skill gems, Blade Vortex. It's got blade in the name, right? So Blade Vortex, spell damage, physical damage. What else would be on there? Blade Vortex, Blade Fall. We said Ethereal Knives. Was there anything else that she said? I think those were the 3 that were listed on the site. So those 3. I think that's it. What about Frost Blades? No? Where's Frost Blades? What? Oh, that's not a spell. That's an attack. That's right. That's what I'm thinking of. So it's just the physical blade spells. Okay, so Blade Vortex, Blade Fall, and EK. All right, that's good to know. All right, what is this context here? Question. So in Ziggy D's reveal, the Delirium map has a line, players in area are 40% delirious. Cartographer's Orb of Delirium will add stacks of Delirium to your maps to increase the difficulty of your experience and add a reward type. The map there has 2 orbs applied. Will Orbs of Delirium work on blinded maps? Yeah, this is my question. This is my question right here. Made account for PoE. Will Orbs of Delirium work on blinded maps? That's the biggest question, I feel like. Because those are the maps with the most amount of monsters, right? is blight maps. So I think that's the biggest thing. All right, is there anything else here that we want to watch that we want to read from Bex? I think that's enough stalking of Bex. All right, so now let's go back to Path of Exile. So here's the announcement page. What are people saying on the announcement page? What is this? By top? Chat is moving so fast, no one will notice that I play Melee. User was banned. Yeah. All right. Conquerors of the Atlas revitalized PoE's endgame. Yep, best part of the patch. Yeah, I agree. Conqueror fights and spawning being fixed. That's a big deal. All right, what else? Ziggy D's video. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, this is a video by PC Invasion. All right, so once again, pay no attention to the damage that it does. Just look at the mechanics of it. I feel like sometimes it actually doesn't hit monsters. Like sometimes it bounces around the monster. Maybe it's actually hitting them, it's just not killing them. Yeah, Assassin, right? Assassin, Wanderer playing Kinetic Bolt. That's a great league starter, right? It's totally cheap. It's a great league starter. I mean, pay no attention to the fact that he's got a taste of hate in the sulfur flask over there. Bottled Faith. Perfect league starter. Perfect league starter. Keith says, do we know if the Deliriums are timed like incursions or not? They are not. They are not timed. To our knowledge, they are not timed. Yeah, how will this work with added projectiles? Can you just cover the entire screen, play Triple Herald, and blow everything up? Like freeze and explode everything? Look at how badly it does for the boss. That's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Let's see. Did anybody else ask? Yeah. Yes, sir. That's my league starter. Pack dies, rare mob lives. So it's Kinetic Blast 2.0. Godly clear, no solo target. That's fine. Just use Barrage. Or use Power Siphon. Just use Barrage or Power Siphon. Those are the Wander's primary single target. Okay, what else? Is there anything else? My 3.10 skill passive tree, taking input. Yeah, go grab all the jewel sockets. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, because you got to grab them on the outside of the tree. That's pretty accurate. High-level gameplay. Another video by PC Invasion. Some high-level gameplay here from PC Invasion. All right, so the mist spreads. More monsters show up. I'm not sure how high level it is if you're using, what is that, double strike? That's kind of a big guy with a two-handed axe. He leap slams. He leap slams kind of slow. Oh, wow, there's somebody with like a shaper beam. What the? What is happening with this YouTube video today? Dude, YouTube itself is breaking because so many people are hyped for Delirium. All right, show me that last scene again. All right, so he kills this guy. And then the ribbons come up. Does that ribbon split? Do you guys see that? Is that what's going on there? That ribbon splits and then this guy comes out? That's pretty freaky cool. Okay. All right. I think that's enough Reddit for the day, though. That's enough Reddit, right? I think we all can agree that's enough Reddit. All right, let's go check out the official forums. Let's go see what folks are saying. Oh, wow. We've already got hate threads. We've already got the hate threads, ladies and gentlemen. God forbid any of us be excited or positive about anything because we haven't played any of it yet. Copacabana says, more complicating the skill tree again than it needs to be, adding more effects to further destroy players' game experience. Remember Betrayal? Now you have to Betrayal with thick fog. You can't even see stuff through this cluster. By the way, most people on top PCs are having issues. Now add more fog. Very bright idea. 4 out of 10. Unsure if we'll play at all. Oh, man. You know, you can't please people. You just can't. You just cannot please people. That's interesting. LOL, time for Copa to skip a league. Looks decent to me. Yeah. Looks complex. Not sure we need more complex. POE is complex. Like, this is the complex ARPG. Okay. I'm going to rant. Bear with me. We're pulling up paint. Okay. So, if you are, let's say, for instance, a baby. Okay. Let's just take an image of a baby. Here's a baby. Oh, look at this little baby. It's just a little baby. Okay. If you are a baby What action RPGs can you play? If you're a baby and you want to play an action RPG, let's say you can play let's say Torchlight or Torchlight 1 or 2. 1 and 2, right? This is like baby mode, right? Like relatively uncomplicated, relatively straightforward, right? Relatively ease of access. Then as the baby gets a little bit bigger, you're like, hey, you know what? I can walk around now and I'm happy. And so I can play what? Now the next game is like Diablo, right? This is like Diablo 2, Diablo 3. Well, Diablo 2 is more complex than Diablo 3, right? So you start off, since you're a toddler, you play D3 and then D2, right? You grow up as you learn more words and you learn more vocab, right? And this is a constant growth of the ARPG player, right? There's your, what do you call it? There's your arrow, right? Your growth arrow, your growth curve, right? And then what? Like you've got over here, who's the brilliant guy? Stephen Hawking. Okay. As you get older and as you grow up, eventually you will hopefully mature into being someone like, oh my goodness, that's way too big of a picture. Just show me a small picture of Stephen Hawking, please. Where's my snipping tool? Just give me a small picture of Stephen Hawking. Okay, here we go. Eventually, you grow up and you can like come over here and you can play POE. Right? Like eventually. This is what POE is. POE is the complex action RPG. Everything else is in between. Everything else is in between these, right? Whether it's Wilson, whether it's Grim Dawn, what else? Whether it's Titan's Quest, what else? Throw it out there. Whether it's Last Epoch, what's the other one that a bunch of people were getting paid to play? I forget, because people were getting paid to play it and nobody's playing it anymore unless they're getting paid to play it. Like, this is the most complex action RPG out there. So I'm amazed that people are already like, oh, it's a bad game. It's bad. Did GGG miss an opportunity with 3.0? Okay, well, what did they miss out on? All right, Twitch Capo Jero actually gives us more than just a rage sentence or two. He says, for those who know or will find out soon that PoE 10 will bring, there's only one question that remains. Did GGG miss an opportunity by playing it safe and not being more creative or innovative or even taking risks by doing something else, something different than a typical or traditional approach than what they've been doing for a while with a new league? When one has to answer this question, it has to look from different perspectives, or should I say, markets, because the game is catering to specific markets. When one uses the safe approach, it means there will be less changes that the current audience will experience, but it also means it won't be enough to bring or retain the lost or potential audience out there. Less changes means less of a chance to upset the current audience that's used on and likes how things are. Blizzard with WoW was a good example of playing it safe for too long. The timing every week, month, or year counts what this game accomplishes or does not in terms of what more it can do in the upcoming months or years ahead. The industry changes, and 2020 might not be the year, but it surely will be a significantly better year than 2019, at least for me. Okay, thanks for sharing why 2020 will be better than 2019 for you, bud. This is good news for everyone else who shares my opinion, except for GGG. So again, did GGG miss an opportunity with 3.10? Like, what was the opportunity here? What was the opportunity? I guess that's my question. Apparently, this guy was the number one SSF hardcore synthesis juggernaut and was the number one camel class race juggernaut. So there you go. So this guy puts time into the game. He cares about the game. Okay. Well, if you consider tabletop Pokemon or tower defense creative, then no, they did miss an opportunity, although I don't know what 3.10 is about. Stick with what works, killing monsters for rewards. Yeah, that's a great point. Like, that's what the game is about, right? Okay, my father posted here. Well, your father, not my father. Your father posted. Did you guys know that your father posts on the PoE forums? Humble brag. He knows something we don't. Might have to tune to his alter ego Twitch channel without knowing to get the desired information while supporting him. Oh, the begging threads were more fun. You know the ones where you had private leagues with other money? Oh, man. This comment is only for SSF hardcore eyes. Okay. Plenty of elitism. Plenty of elitism on the forums. Enough with that thread. Okay. Next thread. Delirium supporter packs are meh. Thread title, disappointing. Although we know the new loot box will be far superior. That's your opinion. I disagree. I like the look of the dark one. All right, let's go look. I actually didn't take a look at these. Let's go look at the Delirium supporter packs. Let's go take a look. So here is the Fate Weaver supporter pack with the Fate Weaver effect. That kind of looks like the, what is it? Was it the Bloodborne effect? Just as you're swinging the sword, it does. That looks nice on the staff. Although, who attacks with stabs? Does anybody actually attack with stabs? That's interesting. The Elite Fate Weaver supporter. Oh, look at this. They turn around for us in this one. That is some funky looking hairdo. That's like a skull. It's like a skull mask. Elite Fate Weaver armor pack. Okay, let's watch that. Wait, did you see the difference in the size? That must be the witch or the ranger. Man, YouTube today is just not working. And then when it goes to the Marauder, it's just like massive. The size on these guys, the scale. Okay, enough YouTube. Darkseer supporter. Okay, this will give you the aberration, right? The guy that floats above you. The portal effect. Oh, that's a portal. That's not the aberration. That's a portal. Okay, nice. The Elder Darkseeker supporter gives you a portal effect. Did this one give you a portal? This one does not give you a portal effect. It gives you a cloak, though. This one doesn't give you a cloak. It gives you a... oh, my goodness. Their website is having a conniption. If you want to know what a conniption looks like, that's what it looks like. All right, the core supporter packs. Yep, these have been out for a while. There's the Crusader. There's the Basilisk. There's the Eerie. There's the Judicator. There's the Orion. And there you go. Supporter pack notes. All right. So that's all the stuff that you can spend money on if you want to support stuff. Again, my disclaimer, if you ever want to buy a supporter pack, I always try to say, please, 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 please wait until the release day. Wait until Friday the 13th. If you actually want to support something, like wait until the release day. Communicate to the devs that it's actually the release of the thing that you're interested in, not just the marketing of the thing. Speaking of marketing stuff, if you want to support G3 at any point in time, shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We do have a bunch of different membership levels, and you can, of course, join our Discord. By the way, our Discord is free for everybody. That's down below in the video description. There is a Discord join link. It's free for everybody to join Discord, but we've got a whole bunch of perks if you do support us on Patreon. We've got a $1 tier, a $5 tier, a $10 tier, a $25 tier, and a $100 tier. So thank you so much to all of our Patreon supporters who support us. You can go and check all that out underneath, down below in the video description. Well, that is plenty of reaction and reading and information on Delirium. Let's go ahead and update all of our stuff. Let's update our, Well, first off, let's update with a timer. Delirium releases March 13th, 2020. So we are 16 days, 23 hours, 21 minutes, and 20 seconds away from Delirium, which means in between now and then we're going to have a whole bunch of news. We'll have what? We'll have development manifestos. What else will we have? We'll have patch notes. We'll have gem information. We'll have a whole bunch of other stuff like that. Dragosi says, hey, Iron, how does one join your guild in-game? Is that part of the Patreon? We always reserve spots for Patreon supporters. There's always spots for Patreon supporters to join us in-game, in-guild. But if you're not a Patreon supporter, no worries. We always have extra slots available as well. So join our Discord and then send me a PM. We'll see if we've got room to get you added. So I need to go and update all of our YouTube stuff with this wonderful, beautiful Delirium background and with this portrait. Can I just save this image? Like this image looks this background. Oh, I can't quite save it. Can I save this? That's basically what I want to save. I basically just want to save this floating delirium. That's what I want to save. Oh, this is obnoxious that there's this at the top. Yeah, I know I'm subscribed. That's obnoxious that that's there. Has anybody already posted an image of this on any of the channels? I also need to go and update our Discord. So let's go do that. We can now update our Discord channel to say, what is it? Delirium League? I'm going to have trouble spelling this all league long. Delirium. Delirium League. There we go. We've now updated exactly what it's called. All right, I need to get some images and upload them onto YouTube. What else do I need to do? This looks awesome. This image right here. Man, it just looks cool. Oh, and this too, right? The boss. I'm looking forward to fighting this boss. Although I will compare one last thing that I'll say. There's only one boss here for Delirium League, whereas Breach had 4 bosses. So it's just interesting, right? Is he going to be more of like an Uber fight that's like a true end game thing? Or is he going to be something that you regularly farm? It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Okay, let's go back through and find some of your guys' reactions and some of your comments to the 3.10 League release. Yeah, the big guy looks really tanky, says Kainshin. Yeah, this big, where is he? This big guy that's like walking around in here, where's another picture of him? There's another picture of like the big, what are we calling him? The obese monster? What's the nicest way to put this? This he's just overweight. The overweight zombie lord. He's not in one of these. Which frame is he in? There he is. There's one of them. There's 2 of them. Look at these guys. These guys are huge. Oh, which by the way, this is straight up out of one of the Conqueror's attacks, right? This right here, this channel, this is one of Sirius's attacks, right? And it's also Valenta's, where they fire out a channel and then you get stuck in it and killed. Hey, look, there they are. There are the big guys. There's the big boys. I'm going to Spectre those guys. If those guys are Spectrable, I'm going to Spectre those guys. That's what I'm going to do. I'd like to rant says, this looks fun as hell to me. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. Iron Light says, the fog looks very iffy. I give him that. Yeah, the fog. I think the biggest question about the fog is going to be performance. That's the biggest thing that I'm worried about. Tux Alonzo says, the people arguing that this game is too complex, this isn't the game for them. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Kane Chin says, I jumped straight to POE as it was my first action RPG, so I was a baby jumping into the World War battlefield. Yeah, that's true. Crimson Lich points out, hey, don't forget on your chart to make it go back the other way as people age. So they make their way back to Torchlight. Yeah, it's much more of a circle, isn't it? It's not a direct line, because eventually you make your way back as you have slower reflexes, right? I don't know. I'm a pretty old guy. We've had a couple of guildmates who are actually 55, 60 plus play Path of Exile with us. So I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts. Oh, I'd like to rant says, I sent you the Delirium text you wanted in the Discord. All right, great. We will see it there then once I actually stop streaming and I go back through and check everybody's Discord. That's good news. Somebody on our Discord says, G3 Iron, you need to start taking donations for a new GPU. Oh, because the artifacts are not from broken YouTube nor a website? That's funny. That's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, eventually I'm going to get a new computer. Not today. Not today. But soon. Okay, so here's what Delirium looks like. Nice. Whoever did this, thank you. Thank you for doing that. This looks great. I think that was you I'd like to rant. So thank you much for sending this over. So now I've got a whole bunch of artwork to do. So there you go. Welcome, Roy. Welcome, welcome. It's an awesome league, huh? It blew my mind. Yeah, it'll make you delirious. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty fun. Soul says, do we think they will do a balance pass on animate weapon now? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many players want to try out animate weapon, since all of those physical blade skills will now create weapons that you can interact with. So that'll be interesting. 001 Ramon says, hey, I have a question. I've never played a league start, and this one I will. Any suggestion for league starters? Because I have no clue what to pick. Okay, FYI, Ramon, here's the deal. Every single week, we go over and review and discuss one build. Every single week, starting last Thanksgiving all the way up through this year's Thanksgiving in 2020 in November. So that should give us 52 different builds for you to consider just right here on this channel. On top of that, when we are building up to a new league, one of the things that I personally do and that we do here on this particular channel is we actually go and review builds and look at different builds that are coming out in the upcoming league and that are to be expected in the upcoming league. So I'm going to show you right here real quick. Here is our build of the week 2019 through 2020. Right now we've got 13 videos on there, and we've got another one that'll be added later on this week. So that's 13 builds right there, or 13 builds for you to consider, right? Those are generally well updated and well maintained builds that we pick out to feature and discuss precisely because the build guide creators of those builds maintain those build guides. So I'm not saying that every single build that's on that playlist is going to be perfect as a league starter, but many of them do have ways for you to league start, and they've got build guide creators who stay up to date with it. Now, every single league, we create playlists that have got basically every video that takes place during that league. And towards a league launch, you can see here during Blight, we did the league launch announcement. We did other various random discussions, and then boom, we did 6 potential builds for Blight League, right? That was back in Blight League. We almost always do a video like this. In 3.9 League, here's the 3.9 playlist. We did what? Metas and ascendancies to expect, what to expect from 4.0, the live stream. What else? 3.9, guild and build management, the guild bank, how we run that, which the guild bank is coming back for 3.10. Then we did the development manifesto, patch reading, and then boom. Week 1, meta review, and then what else? We started doing some build guides right here. Bada boom. Bada boom, build guides, build guides, build guides, ways to league start, build guides, build guides. So if you're interested in build guides, then we've got that, right? When it comes to just hanging out here in the G3 community. So if you're not sure what to start out with as you get league started, just stay tuned to this channel as well as to others. There are tons of wonderful community creators right here in Path of Exile. We're not the exclusive place. We're not the we don't have the monopoly on good build ideas. We just like to feature a whole bunch of them and then discuss them and share them with you all as a community. That's one of the things that we love to do, is actually discuss various builds. So hopefully that gives you an answer, and hopefully that helps you out a little bit about ways that you can get started. Quantrum Dot says, I need patch notes to decide what to play. Yes. So generally speaking, I go in with 3 ideas. I will start the league with like 3 ideas for starters, and generally this is the way how I do it. All right, let's grab all this stuff. Here's the general mind map or concept. Okay, so you want a league starter. This is for me personally. This is not for anybody else. I'm not telling you that you have to play this. I'm just telling you the way how I do things. Typically, I want a league starter that is going to get me going and is going to make me currency. Okay, it's going to get me going on currency. Then at a certain point, I'm going to ask the question, can I scale this build? In other words, can I just keep dumping currency and just keep playing this build? If the answer to that is no, then from there I will go and find another build, right? I will go and find another build that I can transition to. It's time for a new build. New build that scales with currency. Right? That's what you do at that point. You need to get a new build that scales with currency. Your league starter gets you to maps and builds currency. Those are the 2 things. Get to maps. Generally get to yellow maps. It doesn't necessarily need to be a build that's going to get you to red maps. But getting to yellow maps will help you get more currency. If the answer is yes, If the answer to this question is, can I scale this build? Yes. Here we go. We'll go over here with our yes. If the answer to that question is yes, then from there, you want to keep expanding and purchasing upgrades. Buy upgrades. Woo! Right? Continually get new upgrades. That's what you want to do at that point. You can continually play that build. So for me, what I like to do is I like to come all the way up here. Wow, we are way zoomed in. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this. There we go. What I like to do as we are league starting and thinking about league starting is I like to ask a couple questions. What builds have I played recently? Right? Like, hey, have I played something recently? Do I want to play it again? Maybe I don't want to play it again. Was it strong? If it was strong, is it going to be strong again? Then we also look at what builds look fun. What builds look fun? Again, this is just me. What builds look fun? Does something look fun? Does it look exciting? Okay, maybe that can be a league starter. Contingency plans for these are, A, it looks fun, but guess what? It's going to cost a gazillion exalts. Not a league starter. I don't have a gazillion exalts yet. What is the currency price point that it will require for me to feel like I'm finally playing the build in its intended version, right? Like, what's the currency point that I'll need? That's a question that I'll ask when I'm looking at builds that look fun. Then I come over here and I say, what builds are going to be powerful? Right? What builds are going to be powerful? And what we try to do is we try to grab what builds have I played recently, what builds look fun, and what builds are going to be powerful. And we try to mesh those together and say, these are going to be league starters. Generally, I try to pick multiple league starters. I'll kick around all of these ideas. Where's a circle-ish thing? Generally, this is what I'm doing. I'm kicking around all of these ideas, and I'm going, hey, I hope this works, and I hope some of these are good ideas. And then eventually that leads me to kick out like 6 to 10. I believe even some leagues I've had upwards of 12 builds that I've recommended to you guys. But eventually, all of this stuff kicks out to a list of builds that I'll recommend at the beginning of a league. Okay? And I try not to recommend builds that I feel like could just be flops. I've played plenty of builds that are flops myself at league start, and it just feels bad. You have to transition from one character to another. You don't have the currency to do it, and you spent a whole time working on one build, like your opening weekend or whatever time you had. It feels really bad, so I don't want you guys to have to go through that. So I try to vet out a whole bunch of builds that won't necessarily work, and eventually, what do we have? Eventually, we have, G3 irons, 6 to 12 builds that I'll recommend for league start. That's the basic process that I go through, right? There's other tricks to the trade that I add here or there. I'm not going to divulge every single secret that I use for my formula, but that's the general scope of things. Find out, hey, what's been played recently? What builds are going to be powerful? What builds have been powerful? What builds look fun? And then you go and you start evaluating them based on their ability to get to maps without having a whole bunch of gear, based on the amount of currency that they can generate. So how quickly they can get through maps, how quickly they can progress through bosses, how quickly can they gather watchstones, how quickly can they farm tier 16s? Will they ever be able to farm tier 16s? How much currency do you need to be able to scale into that build? So this is the general process that I follow through. Hopefully that helps answer some of your questions as you're thinking about league starters. Okay, let's get to a couple more comments from y'all. Alejandro says maybe a jug endurance charge stacking. I love playing juggernauts and stacking endurance charge. They're incredibly tough to kill, incredibly tanky. Draco says, hey G3, late to the party. Any good news for us console plebs? The good news is that Delirium League is coming out for all of you 1 week after it releases. So it's going to release on the 13th or March 13th. And then the 20th is when it'll release for you guys. So you guys will have the benefit of hopefully a week's worth of bug fixes. That's some good news. There you go. Kextro says, generally I choose builds that function with only rare items that are league starters. That's a great way to evaluate it as well. You don't need any uniques, which means that your essentials for getting up and running are much, much smaller pool. That's great. That's great. Alfonso says, I don't know about you guys, but this game will be getting worse and worse if they don't deal with optimization. It's nice to get a new expansion every 3 months, but I think we need a league for bug fix and optimization. Here's the reality, Alfonso. They're working that in every single league. Every single league that they work on stuff, they're actually patching and fixing various bugs. The bug fixes continually get worked on at GGG. So that's the good news. The bad news, I guess, is no, it's a new league with new content, and they're not denying us new content and saying we're just working on bug fixes. Like, they've got a whole bunch of people in their office who just do art, who just do development for gameplay. So like, what essentially from an organizational standpoint you would be saying is these people don't have a job for 3 months. There's nothing for them to work on, and just the guys who work on bug fixes will fix it. Like, technically speaking, these other people, this other group of people in the organization might not have the technical know-how to actually go in and fix bugs. So it's interesting. Okay, some clarification. Woj Oleg says, by the way, you were wrong about the 5 decks mana jewel. It scales with allocated nodes you have used to get to the jewel, not the shortest path. Oh, that's fantastic. If that's okay, so I misread that. If that's the case, then then the shortest path doesn't matter, right? So if we come up here and we say the shortest path is 26 points to get down here, we can go through and scale up and scale up and scale up and scale up and just keep scaling up the amount of passive points. So essentially you could make it like that. That's your last passive that you actually allocate. And essentially that's what, 123 passive points worth of allocation. So that's a lot. Iron Light says, I was aiming for some more POTCG strength stacking memes for later on. What does that mean? What is POTCG? What am I missing? Is that power charge something? What am I missing on that one? Beatrice says, would farming blood aqueducts for tabulas be good to start a league? Yes, that is one good idea. There's lots of different ways to league start. One is to rush getting to maps and then grind maps and then sell additional maps that you have. Another is to rush to get to blood aqueducts, farm up yourself a tabula rasa, and then continue to get through maps. So I'm not going to comment here today on which is better, just because there's lots of different angles to that, and I'm not going to get into every different angle, but both are viable. I will say that. You can watch several different racers and streamers who build up their own currency, who will do both. Some will farm a tabula, some will just continue carrying on and playing. So lots of different ways to do it. Manigesh says, oh, Pillar of the Cage God. Great. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, there is a ton of mana and decks that you can get with that jewel. That makes a lot more sense now. Okay, so that's going to be it for me today on the stream. We are going to now go and update all of my different YouTube stuff. So we got to go and update a whole bunch of graphics so that way our YouTube matches the Delirium League. And we've now got a countdown for Delirium League. Where are we? Take me to the pathofexile.com. Let's go back to the countdown. I love the countdown. Pretty much every day that we've got news in between now and when Delirium releases, there will be new videos coming out. Whether or not they're coming from me or from other POE community hosts, you can make sure that there will be videos coming out. But for all of us here at Good Guy Gaming, we love doing these countdown videos where we see new uniques that are coming out, new divination cards that are coming out, development manifestos, as well as, of course, eventually patch notes, and then build guides that will be coming out. So stay tuned over the next 16 days, 23 hours, and 1 minute, because, of course, we're going to have lots and lots more to discuss as we count down the days for Delirium League. And thanks so much once again for watching. I hope today is the day a Mirror of Calandra drops for you. And if not today, then maybe in 16 days, maybe on day 1 of Delirium League, a mirror will drop for you and fund whatever build you want to play during the upcoming 3.10 expansion